Hello there, and welcome back to Jabba's Palace. Today, guys, I have a very special video for you guys. So, I just finished, right now as we speak, watching Obi-Wan Kenobi, the 6th episode. So, the series is now complete. I now have seen every episode, and even though this is a quick response to the series as a whole, I feel like it is a good time to just lay it out there and pretty much go ahead and sum up how I feel on the series as a whole. So, to start out, I'm going to go into the things that I absolutely loved and the things I absolutely hated. Going into probably the major thing, there's a huge fall off. The first episode, in my opinion, stands out as one of the best episodes throughout the entire series, event, or whatever you want to call it. But once you go into 2, 3, and 4, it gets a little bit more feeling like it ain't as significant or as big. Episode 1 is probably one of the best episodes at showing Obi-Wan as broken down, pathetic, weak, which is what I wanted to see. Out of this series, I really wanted to see Obi-Wan struggle and see not only the internal struggle, but also the physical struggle that came from the events of episode 3. And just so you know, I mean episode 3 Revenge of the Sith, not episode 3 Obi-Wan show. But for whatever reason, episode 1 stands out as one of the best episodes in this show, whether it's the hype or whether it's just the sheer excitement of seeing Ewan McGregor don the character again. Whatever it is, episode 1 stands out as one of my most memorable and most liked, in my opinion, episodes. But going into episode 2, I find myself kind of falling off. You know, it's an episode that definitely stays in my mind. Like I remember every episode, but it's kind of more faint and kind of less memorable. There's moments that stand out to me, but as a whole, it feels kind of very campy at times. You know, you have the whole thing with Leia, and you know, you have all this stuff, and it just feels very out there and very not as good. As a whole, it's an okay episode. By far the best parts, definitely the Vader reveal at the end. But, you know, it's not the most solid episode in this series. Going on to episode 3, you know, it's an episode that finally shows the showdown between Vader and Obi-Wan that we had been teased about, and Disney had poked us and said, hey, Star Wars fans, we're going to give you a fight of the century, not only once, but twice. And everyone was like, you know, excitement, and, you know, Vader and Obi-Wan clashing. They knew what would sell us. Sadly, the fight, in my opinion, and this is my opinion, you guys are entitled to yours, and you guys don't even have to listen to my opinion. But, in my opinion, the fight was lackluster. But, you know, it was made to be lackluster. It wasn't made to be this big showdown, because as you can see in later episodes, they can make a showdown if they want to make a showdown. It was simply to show that Obi-Wan is not up to par anymore, and he's not as good as he once was. But it ended on a note of Obi-Wan being injured, and as a whole, it was an okay episode. Seeing Vader again was exciting, but outside of that, it kind of fell short. Episode 4, I do believe we're on. Episode 4, complete filler episode. It's one of them episodes that, you know, it has story value and has value in a sense of, significant moments, but it also just seems very pointless at times. There's times where, it's just like, okay, this is a episode in a 6-part series that just is complete filler. And I would rather them just make one of them episodes, like 5 or 6 especially, a little bit longer, and then cut 4 out, because 4 was, in my opinion, just the worst episode in this show. Oh, now we're to the good ones. 5. Episode 5 stood out tremendously well. You want to talk about some of the best recent Star Wars? Episode 5, must watch, must see. It's one of these things that if you haven't seen as a Star Wars fan, you probably need to see. It has tremendous fight sequences, great shows of power. The hype is very real in it, and it stands out. It's one of them episodes that I definitely haven't forgotten, and I won't forget anytime soon. Going into episode 6, by far probably the best episode. Which it's the finale, and it should be, but it does everything the fans wanted. You wanted Hayden Christensen dialogue, you got it. You wanted Obi-Wan and Vader to fight, but you want it to be like the prequels, got it. You want Qui-Gon Jinn, you got it. It's an episode that pretty much just gives everything they want. As fans, everything we want. And I feel like it did it well. Episode 6 kind of cleans up, picks up what went wrong. Episode 5 and 6 picks up everything that 2, 3, and 4 did wrong, and it dusted off, and they pretty much say, okay, we're going to fix this. And that's what it did, and it did well. And as a whole, I feel like the series is very good. There'll be lots of arguments online on whether or not this thing should have happened, or whether or not, and I might do a video on whether or not this show should have happened. But as a whole, it's the best Star Wars I've seen from Disney in a minute. Live action Disney Star Wars has been pretty rough, so I'm pretty happy to have some good in it. And I'm not throwing nothing against The Mandalorian, or I'm not throwing nothing against anything with the sequels or anything, because I know everybody has their own preference on what they like in Star Wars, and it's not my opinion to sit there and say, well, that part sucked, this part sucked. And you all might sit there and watch the Obi-Wan show and like 2, 3, and 4, but they are episodes that, in my opinion, I just don't like. But as a whole, I'm going to rank the Obi-Wan show a solid 8 out of 10. It isn't the best, isn't the worst, has several memorable moments that are going to be seen and put on YouTube, and people are going to watch and enjoy. I think the show succeeded in what it wanted to do. I felt like there's a lot of poetic, beautiful moments in 6. I felt like it was a show that definitely stays loyal to canon, but also changes canon, if that makes sense. But I would put it, for Star Wars fans, as a show you need to watch. But anyway, guys, that's all from me. Thank you guys for watching the video. Please like and subscribe. It helps me out deeply. And may the Force be with you. Always.